Hello, everyone. Well, I think there's more people now than when I walked into the room. This is great. Guys, appreciate your being here. Today, I just wanted to kind of not talk about the product much, but talk about some of the issues that we have within our industry, where everything is going in terms of technology, some of the trends that we see in the space in terms of advisory business, adoption of technology, and then kind of transform it and maybe talk a little bit about, educate a little bit about kind of technology in general and where technology is moving forward in 5, 10, 15, 25 years. So I know the title of my presentation is Financial Planning for Mortals, and the Technology of the Future. So there's some very interesting things that I'm going to talk about towards the end. But we're going to start with just talking about, the little tree we call integration, right? There's a lot of talks about integration that was, around this conference and many other conferences you guys are going to. I just want to, set the stage and just talk about what are the evolution of the integration that we've seen in the space. So it started with like a single sign-on, right? Everybody know what single sign-on is, SSO. You just connect the two systems together with a single click so you can launch another application from the website. Then it was a data import capability. So you can, in a one-directional way, import information, say, from a portfolio management system into a CRM, or from a CRM into a financial planning software. And then there came bi-directional integration. So you can actually sync up the data between the two systems automatically so that, let's say, information that goes into a client portal gets transferred into a financial planning software and then gets transmitted into a CRM, sort of like that main hub of where all the data is for the advisors, right? So that bi-directional integration is what we call a third level of integration, which is really helpful to sync up the systems so you don't just rely on a single way integration. And then a fourth level of integration, we talked about it a lot at Finance Logix, a couple of years ago, started kind of promoting that concept in the industry. The concept of Widget Ization, and by the way, if you can pronounce it, that's pretty much a sobriety test for tonight. You can pretty much drive, I can guarantee you. Try it, Widget Ization. The concept of Widget Ization is really to take the software that's in the cloud, create it as widgets, and then basically merge it or mash it in the cloud. So you can imagine take two different applications. If these applications are widgetized, right, you can take those different widgets, mash them together, and create an experience for the user where actual pieces of various different applications live on the same page. To give you an example of what that means in some of the tech terms, I don't know if we have any IT guys here, but it's delivered through an API interface. It's flexible, it's interactive. It's those HTML-based widgets that you can put up there on the page. They can be consumed as HTML or as data, as JSON or XML. And they can be themed. So multiple different applications can actually produce information and produce those widgets. They all look the same and create single experience. Some of the integrations that I wanted to kind of show as an example, this is a snapshot of TD Ameritrade institutional dashboard they just came out with. They have those little guys right there on the screen are widgets that you can pop in and pop out and specify from different applications, from CRM to financial planning to portfolio management, et cetera. But widgets cannot just be static information. They could be also live information. So here are some of the examples of Finance Logix widgets where you see they have sliders on them. So essentially, you can actually embed one of those widgets in the dashboards, interact with the widget right there, and it contacts the, say, in this case, financial planning application, and then adjust the assumptions for that particular client you're looking at within the content and plays back the result. So these are more interactive widgets that you can embed, again, into the application and be able to collaborate a lot better between various different systems. As you work with your vendors, as you work with your technology solutions. I always give the broker-dealers, give the RIAs this 10-question list that really helps in terms of how do you pick the vendors? How do you integrate things for your broker-dealer so it works as a one application rather than many different pieces, right? So some of the things to ask that I would recommend is that a desktop-based software or a cloud-based software? That question almost now is not a question, because if it's not in the cloud, pretty much, you don't want to do it. Is the vendor financial services provider within our industry or not? That's a pretty important one, because I see some broker-dealers, they go out, they see some technology that's available, just the general public. They try to integrate that. And I've seen, not to say that all of them are not great technologies, but depending on how you integrate it, there may be a difficulty in connecting with the actual vendor if you need to make the systems really work well together. It's oftentimes harder to communicate and integrate things solutions with an outside provider. Does the integration work with your, the three most important pieces: CRM, financial planning, and portfolio management? Because if the solution doesn't integrate with that very well, it's going to be pretty hard for you to make things really smooth for the advisors. Is there an additional fee for enabling integration? Always ask that. Most of us here in the room, we don't charge for the integrations. There are some companies that charge for integration. Additional fee, I always ask when trying to put systems together about that. Is there a mobile experience or an app? So we'll talk a little bit about the mobile. That's kind of the new wave of technology in terms of expectations from the consumer, right? So everybody expected that now you have the website. Well, the next thing, everybody's expect that now you should have an app, right? If you don't have an app, they start questioning, are you a real business, right? We see that wave is coming next. Everybody here, I'm sure, has the website, right? I'm sure 10 years ago, if I ask how many people actually have the website, not everybody's going to raise their hands, right? So mobile is kind of the next thing that we see as a trend, and that's only here to stay. Who owns the data? Important question. So is that something that you own, the advisor owns, the client owns? Making sure that all these agreements are in place and you understand exactly the ownership of data is a very important part. And obviously, the data needs to be secure. What specifically is the security protocol? We recommend 256-bit encryption at rest and in transmission, so that's a good kind of policy to have for securing your data storage. And obviously, you need to make sure that the data is backed up, that there's sufficient disaster recovery plans, et cetera, in place. Also, training and obviously knowledge base or any kind of phone support, very important things, which I'm sure everybody knows. It's the success of the deployment. If you have good support team from the vendors that you're working with, it's always going to make things a lot easier for your advisors. How often the new version of the software comes out? So that's another important thing that often people overlook when they pick solutions. Take a look at how innovative the company is. Do they have a standard release schedule, or look at the history of their releases? What does it look like? Because if you're trying to pick a solution that's going to last, for you for next 5 years, let's say, you want to make sure that the company and their solution grows with your needs and with the market needs. So that's another very important thing that a lot of people I see kind of overlook when they shop for the package or shop for the solution. And if these things are too much for you, I have a slide up here with some of the experts that are in our industry. I think all of them today are at this conference. I'm sure all of you know they're in alphabetical order based on their company name. Actify with Spencer Siegel, Fox Financial Network with Draper Fox and Duff Krantz, and FPPAT with Bill Winterberg, Push Button Solution, Tim Meinert, and Technology Tools for Today, of course, with Joel Breckenstein. These are great resources, so if there's still some confusion or you're trying to make things work better, all these guys on the list know all of us vendors very well, know all of our systems, and can definitely help. Technology, in general, what we see in the space is really engagement with clients is becoming a bigger trend in technology. So some of the things that we see that's becoming more and more attractive, and more advisory firms and broker-dealers are spending budgets on these types of solutions are integrated websites. Some of the examples: advisor websites, Emerald Connect. Client portals. This has been a big client portal year. A lot of people are putting out client portals, and that's because the clients demand it. Client really expect the company now to have a client-facing solution that's intuitive and that integrates the client experience in a single place. Some examples there: I know Oldbridge got one, Tamarack, eMoney Advisor, and of course Finance Logix has the client portal as well that integrates planning along with all the other Document Vault and other solutions. Advisor mobile apps. Like I said, ability to provide your advisors with their identity on the App Store is becoming more and more important. So if you're not thinking about the mobile technology and mobile strategy today, I would certainly encourage you to look at these solutions out there, and whether you provide it internally or use some of the vendors that are available in the industry. I know Orion does that. Orion Advisor does the mobile apps. Finance Logix, we do the mobile apps as well for your advisors that are custom, specifically created for the advisory firm, so that they have kind of their own branded identity, use it for working with clients as well as prospecting. Social media, very important. Make sure that all the social media is archived and compliant. So Regeds, Marsh, Vesserly, some of the social media solutions for archiving technology, as well as the client engagement and lead generation. So take a look at those guys. Pretty interesting companies. Some of the client portal capability that I was talking about. So here's an example, for example, of Finance Logix client portal. Again, when I was talking about widgets, this is the idea of the widgets. All these different widgets can be moved around. You can basically decide which widget which client will get, which widget which advisor would get in the package. Maybe certain insurance guys don't get certain investment widgets, et cetera. So that widgetization concept really gives you a lot of flexibility in terms of how you deploy your solution. And we see a lot of vendors kind of picking up that concept. As I mentioned, TD Ameritrade, including that in their dashboard, Orion Advisors using widgets, and a number of other firms that are using that technology today. And we're very, very pleased to see that, because that really makes it easier for you guys, makes it easier for you to make systems work a lot smoother. Here's some of the examples of the mobile app. So mobile experience, again, from showing your current portfolio allocation to actually providing some engaging financial planning related kind of calculators that engage the client in conversation about their retirement goal or their education goal. And obviously are branded with the advisor picture, advisor bio, and with a single touch of on this phone, advisor is able to communicate with this client. Client can go drive to the advisor office, get navigation right on the phone, able to read the advisor's social media profile, as well as even just call the advisor's office. There's a little phone button, so instead of, or in addition to using your business card, you use this digital business card that allows you to connect, allows your clients to connect with advisors much easier. Some other trends that we see in the space is consolidated advisor portals. So a lot of firms in the industry are trying to create that all-in-one solution, right? On the broker-dealer side, on the RIA side, I talk to a lot of vendors. We're all kind of looking at that silver bullet. We're all trying to create a solution that's going to make it easier. So you'll see more and more solutions coming out, kind of all-in-one package, go with this, and it's taking care of everything. Consolidated dashboards, big data, everything kind of connected. Custodians are in that game as well. So we'll see how it's going to develop. But I think there's some rapid developments that I know of that are going on in the space today. So I'm sure in the next couple of years, you're going to see some better solutions. And you guys only win. So a lot was said about robo-advisors. I don't want to repeat a lot of things. But just to point out some of the some of the key points. Obviously, we are there to test if those robo-advisors actually going to, still exist in some of the rougher markets over time. But some of the things that we definitely learned from robo-advisors is that we are in the technology game with them. So if your technology package, the systems that you provide, doesn't match up with what you see out there on the street that much lower end type, much lower net worth investor can have access to, you really need to get your technology up, right? Because if your package, if they're walking into Nordstrom experience and you have your clients doing stuff in the village market, that's not really good, right? You need to create a solution, technology solution, that provides that high net worth, high-end technology experience in addition to high-end personal experience. And obviously the advisor fees. There's some interesting conversations that a lot of the folks here in this conference and we had about the fee structure, how they're going to be affected. There's some very interesting changes that we see in the space. Some RIA firms creating different types of fee structures, focusing more on providing value through personal relationship, through financial planning, to really emphasize the value they provide to the client. Where with robo-advisor, it's mostly very much asset allocation driven. So if you want to beat those robo-advisors, bring that personal relationship, that financial guidance as a value into your firm, because that's something that's very hard for a computer to replicate. Very hard to create that experience and provide that kind of guidance to basically a feel-good with a financial future roadmap to your client. A little bit about where we are today and where we're going in terms of web technology. So everybody heard about path to the cloud, web, big data. How did it all start, right? We started with Web 1.0, which was basically publish and subscribe. So that's, you put up the website, then little Yahoo there, goes and searches all the website, gives you the result. Then Web 2.0 came out, what we call a social web. So this is where Wikipedia was the #1 social web. You can actually post something out to the web, other people can see it and interact with it and modify it. And then obviously eBay, Facebook, blogging sites. So that's what we all call Web 2.0. Then came Web 3.0, which a lot of folks call Semantic Web. So Semantic Web is basically a big data concept where based on specific information that's gathered from the user or gathered from other users, the systems are trying to be built to be more intelligent about the data that they play back to the client. And there's many examples, when airline, checks you in, they also tell you, hey, or there's a flight that's delayed, it gives you a message, and then later it says, well, would you like to rebook your flight right there? So it knows that the next step you're logically gonna do is because my flight is delayed, I might want to rebook it, right? So it's thinking and creating solutions like that Web 3.0 brings up. Now, what's Web 4.0? So with introduction of all this data, wearable solutions, and other things, there's going to be a shift to provide even more interactive experiences. And actually, software will be able to learn and reason in terms of by collecting all this information and trying to think like a human, not in real terms, but much, much more adaptive to what we're trying to do and what we're thinking of doing next. So Web 4.0 technology is brand new. There's very few systems. I put some examples on there for the semantic social networks and others, but very interesting technology that we're going to see in the next few years unfold even in a greater way. So how is it going to transform our life, right? What does that mean in terms of software and hardware? How is it going to change the way we live? Obviously, here you see some of the examples, right? iPad is going to be, there's already some prototypes that you have actually, what do you call it? Well, just that you saw on the screen. It basically comes out, right, like virtual reality, and you see it right in front of you. you have touchable devices and wearables, wearable computing, obviously built into all the houseware. There's a number of projects that are going on of smart house. So all these technologies that you see here actually, already exist, right? They're not all that nice looking, as the video company from Carnegie, I guess, showing here, but the ability to provide that kind of interactivity within surface-based computers, as well as ability to connect to a smart car. Oh, this one I like. So you guys know this move, right? This move, right? Generally means something else. But now you're going to learn it because that's how you transfer data. Watch. Watch in a second. So she's going to change the, there you go. You saw that? That's a new gesture for you guys to learn. This means completely different now, completely different stuff, okay? Go like this, and the data flies from where you are, what device you have, over to another one. So schooling experience. You guys think you're going to be spending more money for kids' education? Yes, look at that. This is going to cost a lot of money. Classrooms, obviously all connected, and much better learning experience with interactive, whiteboards, etc. And the glass computers, right? Same thing, I guess for communication, public transportation, workplace, a lot easier to design things on your desktop. Obviously, the Surface technology has been out for a while. Microsoft's been a pioneer in that, and that's obviously also growing quite a bit. So more and more of these devices are going to be seen in the modern offices. Holographic representation of, that's the word I was looking for, the holographic view. That technology is also available today. Like you saw in the beginning of the video with the iPad, where you kind of see the hologram image. So that's exactly what they're showing here in medical. They're taking a scan and then creating a holographic replica on the other side, so that now the doctor can actually slice it, literally slice it and dice it, and analyze. Pretty cool. So we were in San Diego Zoo today with my family. I think this is going to be our next trip. So essentially, all this interactive glass-like computing, right out there, right? So this is what I want you to remember. Next time we come to San Diego, this better be in the San Diego Zoo. Okay? So this is, by the way, this is the technology today, right? So what does the technology of the future looks like? Okay? What are all these advances that are happening in our life, and where is it all going in the next, now we're going to look at 5, 10, 20, 30 years, right? Today we have wearable computing. Huge uptake on wearable computing. Anybody plays golf? You guys play golf? Anybody plays golf? Yes? So you're going to like this. If you want to improve your shape of the golf swing, right? You buy one of these little wearable jackets, and when you actually don't have the right swing, it'll buzz you. It will create textile effect that says, you didn't get it right. Go change it up, right? So they're already using that with athletes to basically, teach them how to do the right swing, whether it's baseball or golf or whatever. That technology exists today. Oops. Virtual animals with digital minds. No, it's not virtual reality and some kind of sci-fi book. Open Worm project exists today. So scientists actually created a brain of a worm and completely digital replica of a simple organism like a worm. They're already working on pets like cats and dogs. So the computers will actually behave. They will have a brain of a cat or a dog. That's what this basically virtual animals concept is. And they've created a virtual bee. So the bee that you see here is an actual bee with a brain of a live, a replica of a live bee. Has all the same functions of the brain of a live bee put into this little computerized bee, and that's today. Obviously, everybody heard about the digital 3D printers, right? So this is an example of a 3D printed cybernetic ear. So for somebody that had an accident, got their ear cut off, no problem. Just go to your server room and go print one out, right? That is something that they're printing today. They're saying in the future they'll be printing, in 5, 10 years they'll be printing things like teeth and other organs, right? Anybody saw the movie Limitless? You guys saw the movie Limitless? You know what it's all about? So basically, the guy really enhanced his capability, took this couple of pills, and now can work like a crazy maniac. He knows everything. He can get things done a lot quicker. So this is what's called basically amplified intelligence. So amplified intelligence is another project that's going on as opposed to artificial intelligence that is allowing people to think better. So think about a person with amplified intelligence where they can actually visualize a blueprint of a complex building in a second with great detail. So there's brain-computer interfaces that augment basically virtual visual cortex in your eyes, in your brain, to provide that additional detail and ability to process information a lot better. Some of the initial tests, of course, that they're talking about kind of makes people go crazy pretty quickly, but they're working on it, right? This one is top 10 things that are future technologies that you're going to see in the next, some of them that already exist today, right? Number 10, we talked about the printing of human organs. This is how it's done. This is an actual printer actually printing a human organ. This is a pretty big one. So there's a big dog technology. Google actually bought this company from Boston Dynamics. Really big business. These guys, the new prototypes, can now walk, and you can't get them off balance. A lot of the advancements in prostates, so through brain interface, you actually control all these things with your brain, all these prostates, basically digital prostates, and you're able to walk, you're able to see. Electricity, pretty soon we'll be just driving in electric cars and, charging them right from the ground. Implants into retina, actually today, allowing blind people to see, which is pretty interesting, how that's going to, extend. Hologram TV, probably the next thing you're going to see at Best Buy. Here's some prototypes they're unveiling. I'm not sure what this guy is showing, but I guess, you can't see behind the glasses. I don't know. Anybody talk about, the invisible man? Who knows? Maybe that's going to happen as well. They're trying to, hide a paperclip. Of course, your flying cars, you absolutely have to have that in your garage. That's definitely going. They have a lot of prototypes already. And who knows, probably in a couple of years, we'll have a flying Tesla, right? Enhancements to allow people to be much more powerful with these extensions to the human capabilities. So, semi kind of RoboCop type of capability. And now number one technology that I found the most interesting and is kind of the topic of my overall presentation today. Financial planning for mortals. So when you guys do your 10-year, 5-year, succession plan, I encourage you to take a look at this slide. So this guy, his name is, he's a billionaire from Russia. His name is Dmitry Itskov, okay? He started this project called 2045, okay? So 2045 is an avatar project. He's working on an avatar. And as soon as 2020, in 5 to 6 years from now, he's claiming that with all the unlimited resources he's got, he's going to create a robotic copy of a human body remotely controlled by brain-controlled interface, BCI. Another term you're probably going to start hearing more and more, BCI, brain-controlled interfaces. Okay? We're talking about API, Now it's going to be BCI. So 6 years from now, this guy is going to be able to, hopefully, I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but this is pretty serious. This is not a joke. I mean, there's like a whole, in Europe and here in the US, there's like a whole group of people. They already had 2 conferences on this and scientists working on it. So to create basically an avatar. Now, by 2025, you've seen some of the examples on the screen there where you actually can control devices with your brain waves, right? Actually, I just ordered a device from Britain. There's a company that now you can take pictures with Google Glass with your brain, like not touching anything, not blinking. You think, and it takes a picture. That exists right now. Like $150. I mean, I'm not gonna advertise this thing, but it's like a little sensor that's on your forehead. It reads your forehead. You need to concentrate on a specific thought that you want to take a picture, and it sends the wave to the Google Glass, and it takes a picture of what you see. That's available today. So what this guy is saying is, like, by 2025, they're going to try to take the human brain and transplant it into an avatar. So extend that technology of the human brain, of the BCI, by taking the brain at the end of someone's life and actually extending the life by transplanting that brain into an avatar. Okay? 2025 is not that far. Most of us, hopefully are going to be there to see it. 2020. I'm sorry, I messed up with the numbers here. So this would be 2025 to 2030. Okay? So by 2030, basically, he will have an avatar with an artificial brain in which human personality will be essentially transferred at the end of one's life. And you know what? I had this presentation like 6 months ago, before that movie came out with, what's that movie that just came out, right? Transcendence, thank you. The movie Transcendence wasn't even out yet. Okay? So then I saw the movie, like, wow. So whatever you see now in the movies, it might just happen in the next 30 years, right? I mean, we've seen history of that repeat itself many times, right, with sci-fi. And then finally, in 2040 to 2045, he's trying to take that human brain and actually transplant it into a digital copy, into a robot or an avatar, and make it actually a holographic avatar. So it's not actually material. So the whole thing is actually data. So if you think about it, you want to go to Mars tomorrow or travel to a different galaxy, you just literally beam yourself, beam your avatar. It's basically recreating itself in holographic image somewhere on the other side of the galaxy. I mean, I know it sounds a little bit out there, but you know what? With technology and what it's done in the last 25, 50 years, and especially in the last 20 years, that may just be that far-fetched. And 2045, we're talking about baby boomer, or the Gen X's and Gen Y's. I mean, they're going to be out there to see it. So when you're making some plans for your technology, right? We do financial planning software. I think all these guys, all these avatars are going to be pretty expensive. And guess what? Now they have to extend their time horizon from like 90 to forever. We're going to solve that cash flow problem for them. So I know we're going to be in business. Talk about recurring revenue there, right? Recurring and recurring and recurring and recurring. But if you think about how fast technology is moving, it's just fascinating that these things are in place. We're still trying to solve the aggregation problem where we have the flying cars and avatars coming our way in the next 20 years, So when you guys go back to the office, just take that information, I encourage you to read up and, Google some of that stuff. It's pretty fascinating what's happening in the technology world outside of our, little financial world. And, I'm always fascinating to read about it and see how that might affect, our lives and our lives of our advisors. So with that, I want to thank you very much. I went a little bit over time, but I hope this was helpful. And thank you for staying so late. Thanks.